Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's your homeboy Eric Short hanging out in his man room. It's been a while since we've had a show. We got my homeboy Les Miller in the house. What's up, Les?
What's going on here? Everything is good, man. How you?
Yeah, I'm good, man. It's been a while since we've done a show, right?
Yeah, for real. We overdue.
Yeah, a lot of vacations and things going on, everybody. But we have another special guest in for today's show. One of the Alexander Hamilton greats and St. John's University great, Ray James. How you doing, Ray?
Great, man. How you been?
Doing
Good
well,
seeing you
man.
guys.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, definitely, definitely, man. We couldn't have it any other way. Let everybody know about Ray James, bro.
Well, for those of you who don't know me, uh, played high school ball at Alexander Hamilton High School, and then from there I went on to St. John's University and played for the great Lou Connor II.
Mm,
And that's basically my life.
hmm
Yeah, I hear you, man.
Yeah.
How things been going, man? With respect to how you look back at your career, in the high school ranks in New York City. How do you think things went, as far as you're concerned?
High high school was good. I really enjoyed that a lot. I pretty much did everything you could possibly do in high school. I believe I may have had at one point had the scoring record at the school. I was Coach Haskins' first All-American, first D1 ball player. Coming out of there. So I played for Coach Fiedler first,
Right.
Jimmy Fiedler, and then when he left, I had Ray Haskins. But I've probably done everything you could possibly think of at uh at the Ham. There was a group of guys that came in after me, but pretty much I was there when I was there. My boy, rest in peace, Rudy Johnson was there.
mm,
That was like my right hand man. I
right.
really
Right.
enjoyed him. And when I first got there, I think a brother named Gordon McCray and Curtis Krosky, those guys. So they took me in and they pretty much embraced me as a freshman coming in. And it just went on from there.
Yeah, I know because I know funny thing through a lot of things that I've been doing or have been doing over the past couple of years and looking back at the past and like certain names, pop up real early on. So right
Mhm.
away, you go right to Street and Smiths and go in there. And right
Yeah, I was
away,
a part of that too.
the first four names of guys in
Yeah,
Brooklyn from, when we were sophomores, actually freshmen, was you,
right,
Albert King,
right,
um, Earl Fuller, and me. And
right,
in every year thereafter.
right.
So, and plus, we always, we're running around the country playing, with Mr.
Right.
Lloyd. So, um,
Yes, yeah.
those experiences, a lot of people don't understand how successful the high school careers were, and we were in the thick of things.
I think that was probably back in that at that time, basketball in Brooklyn or basketball as a whole throughout New York was heavy.
Yeah.
Because you think back with all the different boroughs and all the different high schools, all the players that came up at that time, you know,
Mm,
it was really deep. And that Street and Smith thing, man, he just brought back a flashback, man. That was a memory. I remember the first time I saw that, and I was like, wow, okay, because that was to me, and I'm quite sure to you guys as well. It was like that was like the basketball Bible.
absolutely.
If you
Absolutely.
was in there, you was somebody because everybody was looking at that, and you knew who was in what state and who played where, who did what, and all you wanted to do was get with them cats. You wanted to get at them cats and see what they was working with. You
Yeah.
know
And we
that
did, and we did get after those cats, right?
exactly. You
Yeah,
know that.
and it's like, and I was sitting back after our talk yesterday. I was sitting back thinking of, people that we've played against and the level of play, and where we, left the mark, going out to Arizona, because we went twice, right? Right. We went the year with
Yes,
Albert,
yes, yes.
and we went with
Right,
Albert and Jeff Rulin, and we
right,
came in third place, I think. But the year after, we come back and win the prep, national title,
right,
you
right.
know. And then Sleepy Floyd, guys like that, like Patrick Ewing, guys like that were in this tournament, man. It was crazy,
Yes, yes,
you
yes,
know.
yes, yes,
And
yes.
some guys less, man. I'm telling you, in my
Oh yeah,
wildest dreams,
Gene Banks, you name them, they were in there.
yeah, Corny
Mm.
They were in there.
Thompson, you know,
Corny, yeah.
yeah. And it's like, and you go there and you're playing, and it's can be overwhelming. Whereas like now it's like a regular thing to play in these national things. But for us, home had that same feel as well. Because like you said, there was so many great players and so many things going on in New York at that
Right,
time that it was no big deal to us, you know.
right,
And
right.
the level of competition was so thick, man, that you can't really put your finger on one thing. But what really stood out to you?
It made it to me a great rivalry for everybody. Because at first, when I first went to Hamilton, I didn't know a lot of these guys. I came in, I started playing, I started making a name for myself, but then I started hearing, oh, you got this cat from down in Fort Greene, Albert King. You got this guy from Bed-Stuy, you got this guy from over here. And I'm like, okay, so now I want to know who these guys are and what their games is like, you know. And then time went on, I would play in these different tournaments. And like, oh, everybody's going crazy. Oh, Al King is playing. Oh, this one is playing. But I'm
Mm.
still sitting back in the cut and I'm kind of quiet about the whole thing. And then once I got in and I started to play, everybody's like, yo, who's this guy? you know? And
Hmm.
that's how I started making a name for myself, but I really loved the competition, man. I loved it, you know.
Yeah.
And from there I just pretty much took off, man.
Yeah, and what are you from? Your upbringing is from Red Hook, am I right? Or the Gowanus rather,
No,
excuse
I'm
me,
from I'm
Gowanus.
from Gowanus. Yeah, I'm from downtown Brooklyn, Gowanus. Uh, Even down there, there were a lot of ball players down there.
Hmm.
So that's where you had Phil Seymour down there.
Right.
You had Richard Gordon. You had Aronia Parker. You had Beetle. You had a couple of guys down there that could really ball, and we pretty much came up together. And I think we like collectively started sharpening our skills with each other.
Right.
Working
Yeah,
out on each other. And then it came to a point where either we played together or we all just branched off and started doing our own thing.
right.
Yeah,
And that opportunity in New York, you know, it was so great because there were so many good coaches that were available. So that's, like everywhere or anywhere we played, we were getting such positive information and playing still against good competition,
all the
because no
time.
matter whether it was Gil George, Lesser Roberts, going to
Hmm.
Riverside, or even going to Queens, anywhere, that you
Right,
weren't getting no salty, good for nothing guy coaching you and not
right,
helping you progress your game.
right.
Um, Unless you but I mean, there were people that fell off the shelf, but being the cream of the crop, man, how was that? How did that feel for you, knowing that you were at the cream of the crop at a certain point, and how did you handle that?
At first, it was a little overwhelming, and at the time, I was kind of quiet, so I really just sat back and really couldn't believe what was going on. And then I didn't have a big head about it. I don't know. I just embraced it, man.
Mm,
Hmm.
And then just wanted to prove myself because after a while, you don't know. You're just doing what you naturally do. And then after a while, you start to realize, hey, I think I got something here.
Hmm.
I can do this, and these people like what I'm doing. And then from there, it just progressed. It started with the coming out of public school, and pretty much I knew what high school I was already going to. It was like you going to Hamilton, and from there it was like, okay, you gonna play for Lester Roberts and Ray Haskins. You know, I remember pretty much one year we were going. I don't know if we were going either out of the country or to some other state to play in a tournament, and Carnesecca it was at St. John's, and Carnesecca used to sit all the way up in the bleachers. Might have been 16, 17, and the
Hmm.
dude would send like notes down and stuff like that. And I'm like, okay, this cat is looking at me, and just all the different coaches coming at you, the different phone calls, all the attention. I pretty much shied away from a lot of that, but after a while, you couldn't help but you had to embrace it. And I think I dealt with it pretty well.
Oh yeah,
So
it's like
how did you end up at Hamilton?
But I think about that all the time. My junior high school coach, some kind of way, just we were talking, and he started talking about Kenny Fiedler, and we got introduced, and I just decided, okay, let me check out Hamilton because I was downtown Brooklyn. So you
Mm.
had Westinghouse. I don't know if Sarah J. Hale at the time was integrated with the males and females, but you had a number of high schools. You had what was that, Automotive or John Jay or whatever, those
Mm.
downtown area schools, and I just never thought about any of them, and it was like that's where I was going.
you can imagine you playing at Sarah J. Hale
Yeah, right.
back in.
And then I couldn't do it. I couldn't do just the name. It was a girls' school being converted over to. He's like, you would not get Ray James up in that.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
Prospect
yeah,
Heights. That happened at Prospect Heights too.
yeah,
Right. Yeah.
right.
There's no way I was going to do that. So it was. Yeah. It
So
was. It was Hamilton when in my first year. They had a pretty big team when I went there. And they weren't bad. And
because they had Ray
I think.
Knight. Ray Knight
Yeah,
was on
yeah,
that team.
right. Knight was in there. Tony Pizarro. Um,
I
we
played
had
against them, man. Because I
yeah,
played as a
Tony.
freshman. Tony was
Right.
tough, man.
Tony gave me my first stitch, my first stitches. We were in practice, and this is when I knew it was real. But after that, it was a wrap. I started giving them the business. But
Hmm.
he rebound. You remember Hamilton? We had the poles in the middle of the gym and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It was crazy. And he got a rebound and spun out and bang, gave me a little shot to the head and split my eye open. And
Mm.
I'm like, okay, this is how this
Yeah.
goes.
They would let
And I
Les.
did,
I'm telling you, man, they were tough, man. I mean, that was when I was
yeah,
a freshman. Tony Pizarro was tough, Les. I'm serious, man.
yeah,
Big boy. And
yeah.
Ray Knight was like a high school
It was
All-American.
Earl Knight. Earl Knight.
Earl Knight, yes, I'm sorry. Yeah, Earl
Yeah.
Knight. And he was
Earl
like
Knight. Yeah.
Earl was a high school All-American. Street Smiths, legitimately.
Yeah.
They called he was a center at 6'3" or something because he's
Yeah.
not
He was
that
like, yeah, he was
tall.
only about, yeah, right. He was just, he
Adrian
was big.
Dantley. Adrian
Right.
Dantley. And Rudy
Mm.
Yes.
and Rudy and Rudy controlled everything.
Yes. 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 Yes.
So they had a good crew, man. I'm serious, man. It
Yeah.
was really
Yeah. We really,
unbelievable,
we
man.
really did. But I went in there. I went in there as a freshman and made my way.
Yeah, yeah.
Made my way.
Yeah.
It wasn't long before they realized, okay, young fella's all right.
Yeah,
That
But
was
yeah,
it. I
yeah.
just took off from there.
but when did Fieldler and Ray, when did that transition happen though? When you were a sophomore or junior or what?
I was a junior.
Okay.
I think I only spent. I believe I spent 1 year with Ray. I did 3 years with Fiedler, and then yeah,
Hmm.
Ray Fiedler was tough. Fiedler was tough, which at that time most of us needed that. He was one of those really hard nosed kind of coaches. Yell a lot of yelling and all the nonsense. But you needed that. Ray, pretty much at that point, I was a junior. I was already, all city Street and Smith magazines, doing this, doing that. What could he really say to me? So he was, when he and I sat down, we talked, and he said, "Look, you're here, you're on your way. Just come to practice, you know, teach the younger fellas, and we good." And that's how we pretty much handled it.
Mm.
Wow.
It was respect was respect.
Right, right, right.
Yeah,
That's
that
how
was
Ray
it.
is. Yeah, he's a good
Mhm.
guy, mild mannered,
Yeah.
and tough
Man,
but
I mean,
fair.
he came to me just like that. Yeah, he's like, look, what can I tell you? I get more mail in. I'm getting more mail in the school than the damn principal. Every day I'm getting letters from all these different colleges and everything. The principal's calling me in his office like, "Yo, what's going on with you, kid?" And Ray was like, "Hey, do your thing, man.
Yeah.
Just come to the games, be on time," and that was it.
Right.
Mm.
Right.
We were good.
And I know.
So, man, so growing up, man. So, what was your park of choice, man?
My park of choice, well, number one was Gowanus Park.
Mhm.
That used to be my playground. And then from there, I guess St. John's. St. John's
Mm.
Rec over there because that's where I played the most. Once I went to started playing for Brooklyn USA, that's where I was 90% of the time. All these other places I really didn't play too much. And once in a while, I would play in, on Tillery Street or, different areas, but pretty much it was always St. John's or Gowanus.
Okay.
That's where I hung out.
or across the bridge, messing around with Mr. Leutch.
Yeah, Mr. Lloyd. He was something else, man. But yeah, we had, come on, at that time, by the time we got there, we had we had some of the best teams ever when we all played for Mr. Lloyd.
Yeah, man. It's like we
But
say the best.
even playing for Lester Roberts, that team, I believe we could probably went into college and beat some teams.
Mm.
Because it was myself, uh, Albert King, Stretch Graham, Ron Chisholm, Earl Nesbitt, Earl Fuller, Rudy Johnson, Bubs, Sam Worthy. All of us was playing together.
Yeah, I
Wow,
know. I
that's a
know.
team right there.
Yeah, Les, that was
Exactly.
crazy, man.
Mouthful.
Right.
Yeah.
All of us played together.
Wow.
So, in the years that we all had the opportunity to play together, I think we may have lost one, 2 games. It was like we didn't do that.
Yeah. And what's
We
that?
just ran through teams.
And did you have y'all? I don't know. Did you, I don't think so. I don't know if you would have played at the same time with him, but did you also play with Butch Pearson? Or because
I
Butch
played
was
against Butch.
yeah,
Butch
because
was
Butch
at
was
what was that? FDR? Was that where he
Lafayette.
was?
Lafayette.
Lafayette. Yeah, that's it was. Yeah,
Yeah, but he
Lafayette.
was
Now,
Butch was 2 years older than us.
yeah, but I did play. I did play against Butch.
Yeah, yeah.
I remember him.
That's weird because that team last man, he's not lying, man. It was like ridiculous. And do you remember playing against me and Kurt Redding and Jesse Massey in that challenge game at St. John's Rec, man?
I really don't.
Yeah, there's this guy that we knew, this white guy, was trying to, be a force in the environment, and he put a
At
team
St. John's
together.
Rec Center,
Yeah, yeah,
I do remember that.
yeah.
I do remember that.
This guy
I do
wanted to
remember that.
fight. He wanted to fight Lester Roberts, man. Lester was a mess. It was a
Yeah,
mess, and it
yeah,
was like
yeah.
everybody who's who on Brooklyn, USA. It was like the team
Right.
was so stacked, man.
Yeah.
Like Ray said, that team might have been able to beat some of the weak ABA teams.
Yeah. No, you're right. Yeah.
Serious, man.
We
I
had
mean, so
we had like every position pretty much covered with the with the top guards. You know, come on, who could run a backcourt better than Sam at that time?
Yeah,
Yo, for
yeah.
real. For
You
real.
know, and it's like
You
you
know,
look at all of the guys that played back then on that team. I mean, everybody they it served a purpose, for you guys to always have success. You guys did jump
yes.
guys hitting jump shots, guys handling the ball. You got
Hmm.
swingmen, you got guys, making that mid-range jumper. You got post
Right.
up play, and everybody has to play D, which is
Yeah.
normal Brooklyn basketball, right?
Hmm.
So,
Brooklyn
uh,
basketball is from point A to point B. You know, I mean, right in your face the whole time, pressuring your guts out. And that's one of the things I have a problem with, like with these young kids these days. They don't understand that style of basketball. You
Yeah.
know, they really don't. And the parents get so involved. We wanted to stomp you. We wanted to run you out of the gym. We wanted to humiliate you.
yeah,
They don't want you to do that now.
yeah,
Now it's like this you have to be nice kind of thing. If
yeah.
you're up by 20, don't run the score up.
Yeah, and
You know, and I'm
plus,
I
like,
know.
what?
and unless you'll
Yeah.
confirm this, or both of you can confirm this, we never wanted our parents interfering, and that's the
Yeah.
one thing. After
No,
what you
not at
just said,
all.
but after what you just said, Ray, that came to mind. Like, you never wanted mom and dad to interfere,
No,
and they didn't. They didn't
no,
interfere,
not at all.
So now, mom, mom has got a clipboard.
Yeah. Right.
I mean, it's
Yeah,
crazy now, man. So, and it
right.
just gave us a chance to basically pay attention to the people that were teaching us because we had no
Right,
distractions. Because
right.
nobody got in the way of our learning environments, practices, or anything, right? Les, I mean,
Yeah. That's
you
right.
know,
All the time. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah, I
man.
was doing a little assistant coaching out here in Staten Island, up at Moore Catholic High School and Staten Island Academy,
Hmm.
and I couldn't deal with it. You know, with dealing with the parents. You know, everybody's kid is good, and I'm straightforward with you. Your son is a
I'm
bum.
sorry for laughing, man.
Your son is a bum.
Your son is a bum. You know, and I would, and they like, they got offended, but and then you can't work with them. You know,
Yeah.
you can't work with them because they don't want to listen. Everybody wants to be Steph. You know, learn the game before you start chucking up these threes.
Yeah,
Right. Right.
yeah.
You
Right.
know,
And it's
it's
funny,
just
I'm not gonna say any names, but a guy that played for Carolina years ago, his younger brother played in our program. And you know how girls take jump shots back in the day? They got to take that little
that
side
little, that little step.
step to get that leg, that
Yeah.
balance going. And he's like
Hmm.
he was 6'11, 6'10. Well, not that big, but 6'8. And that's what he did every time he took a shot. So I said to the dad who was there at the practice, I said, your son shoots like a girl, and he's got to stop doing that. But I said, this is what he can do to get out of that mode. It's kind of like a chair drill. So you stand up and you take
Right.
your shot.
Hmm.
And like 2 hours pass. I'm outside talking with one of the other coaches, and another one comes over and says, "Yo, Eric, man, you can't be doing that." So I'm like, "What are you
Right.
talking
See.
about, man?" It's like he said, "Man, the guy's ready to go and play for CP3. That's the other Nike program in North Carolina." And he's like,
Hmm.
"You can't be saying that to these kids because their dad's like he's so and so, and his brother is so and so." And I'm like, "What does that have to do anything?" It's like if Mike Krzyzewski or if Roy Williams said that to him, then he'd change, right?
Hmm.
But if I
Yeah. Well,
say it, it's a bad thing,
Hmm.
And oddly enough, he goes to Carolina, he averaged like 3 points a game, but he got playing
mhm.
time, but he never could up and the commentators were always saying that offensively he's not progressing, you know.
I blame that on coaches.
Yeah,
Because if you see a kid has because the way a lot of these kids even shoot the ball nowadays is ridiculous. I'm like, where'd you get that? Where'd you get that form from? They worked us on form. I used to stand, and that's how I got so good at shooting jumpers. I could shoot a jumper with my eyes closed.
Hmm.
I barely even really even thought about it. I knew it was going, but I used to just look at a brick on the wall, one brick, and I used to just practice hitting that one brick, that one brick, and I just kept doing that, kept doing it, till it got to a point.
On the wall, brick on the wall, right?
Brick on the wall.
Yep.
And that's how I did that, a brick on the wall. You know, I'm thinking, how did you brick on the wall? I didn't put no mark on it. I just zeroed in on one particular brick. And I would just practice shooting the ball at that brick till I would hit that brick every time.
Yeah,
Right.
and the training is sucks. And it's funny, 20 minutes before, we got on air, right? I'm watching NBA TV. I'm watching double overtime San Antonio against Portland. And Terry Cummings was having a field day. Yo, so fundamental, so didn't waste anything, so efficient, catch square, he got you, you're done. And that's it. That's as simple as this game was. And it's like, and I always say this, and Les will confirm this, we learned our era of basketball was the era of being efficient as a player.
Oh, definitely.
There was no
Everybody was
wasting it. And I sat back, Ray, and I said, one thing I can say about Albert King, and I figured we were going to end up talking about him at some point in time today, right? He was very efficient. He didn't waste anything. Like his game was calmer, and it wasn't like he was hard nosed, but everything was done in an efficient manner. His brother was the same way. You were the same way. I was the same way. Les, you were the same way. And that's my point, because we could point out flaws in him or whatever. That's not what the point is. The point is that we all were being taught to be efficient with the ball,
Right.
And now there's no efficiency at all, because it's like everybody seems to have that mindset. It's my turn to shoot.
Yeah,
and it's like no matter what, no matter what, it's my turn to shoot.
Yeah, it's my turn. I'm going to shoot it.
Yeah, exactly. Right. And it's like that. No matter how does that make you feel, Les, if you're a big man and the guy's like, "Yo, it's my turn to shoot," and you're dogging the guy, you're gonna be pissed, man.
Yeah. And then when he misses, I'm gonna get the rebound, get my 2 points, and then next time I get the rebound, I'm not giving it to him. Oh man,
right.
Simple as that. Simple as that.
Did you play against Al much? Any of you guys play against Al King a lot?
Oh, me? Yeah, hell yeah.
He did. I only played him a couple times.
Yeah, I did, because I played with Restoration. So when we were like 12, we were practicing together, right? So Gil Reynolds and George Merton were practicing together, and I was playing against them a lot as a younger person. So it's kind of like, and then with Riverside, we're playing, so but you played more at a higher level with him.
Right.
And a lot more, and
when we didn't play against each other much when we were young, or at all really. But once we got older, it was more of a higher level. And I always embraced that challenge, because he could shoot, I could shoot. He had ups, I had ups. So we really used to go about it, because he and I were basically, he was the number one scorer in the city, and I was too. So the only thing I didn't like was that, and that's the coach's decision. Whenever we played against them in high school, he would never guard me. He would never guard me.
I'm just laughing. I ain't got nothing to say about it.
You're getting foul trouble.
Right. They had I forget the kid's name. It was the Spanish brother. Was there?
I know who you're talking about. I know the guy you're talking about.
Yeah, definitely.
It was. He had problems.
But see, and the thing is, it's like I'm not knocking his game or anything, but I knew how to play Al. I mean, because Al won't he's not going to be efficient if he has to put the ball on the floor. So I'm going to make him put the ball on the floor, and then I'm attacking him. But if you
let him turn and just turn on you, he got you. You're done.
You're done. And it's simple, because he'll pull on you. He'll keep
Mhm.
going, blah blah blah,
Mhm.
um, and then his jumping ability gets in the way of you stopping him. So, you know,
For real.
but it's like you have to know, like, don't let him put the ball, like make him put it on the floor and give him a hard time. Don't give him that
Yeah.
space, you know. But that's the same
Mhm.
with Bernard. Don't
Right.
let Bernard. He's
Right.
not going to waste any time on you. And
Right.
but if you would look at you, Ray, or you look at you, Les, that would be the same thing. Like, don't let's seal you. Don't you know what I'm saying? So that's that efficiency in what you do. Is that if once Ray gets that first step on you and he leaves the floor, you're in trouble. And I
Yeah,
was like,
for
you
real.
oh man, we're going to St. John's Rec to play against Alexander Hamilton. It's like, damn, I got to play against damn Rudy and Ray. I'm like,
Yeah.
what? You know,
Yeah.
I'm serious,
Yeah.
man. It's like, damn, I got to
Yeah.
play against Rudy and Ray, man.
Yeah.
So because
Mhm.
Rudy was the kind of guard that would try to hold the forward. He don't care, because he had
Right.
kind of
Well,
like a little
he
bit
was
of
pretty
size.
big though. He was Rudy was about what 6'3",
Yeah, about 6'2", yeah. And so he would be able
6'3".
to
Yeah.
guard you a bit.
Right.
And it's like,
Mhm.
and that's what you would say about a guy like that. And the same with you, it's like you're gonna have hold the big man. And plus, I'm playing high school basketball, I'm playing center. So it's like,
Right.
Right. That's
damn, I
right.
gotta hold
That's right.
Rick and Ray.
And I played, and
Damn.
I didn't play. I wasn't the center. I played inside and outside.
Yeah,
I would
yeah. And that's what
post
you
you up,
find out. Yeah, that's what you
and
find out
then I
because you're
would
listed
pop.
as the center, but then all of a
Right.
sudden Ray's on the wing. Like what?
Right.
you know,
Right.
and it's
But
like
that's
it's
how
like
I learned. That's how I learned how to play with my back to the basket
Hmm.
because of that. They would put me. Fiedler had me learning in the post. Ray let me pop out once they
Right. Right.
realized that I could shoot from out there. So I would
Hmm.
take you in the paint. So I had that double-edged sword. You knew if you
Hmm.
came out and you didn't come out, I was gonna hit that jumper.
yeah, like Cliff
And ran
Robinson.
right. If you came out there, I was going around you. And
Hmm.
once I got that first step, I'm going, I'm going to the ceiling.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And you know what
that's
else
how.
helps as well? And I was talking to a parent about 3 weeks ago, and it was like, her son was like, he's like mid-range, middle school, kind of like
Mhm.
maybe a forward, but should be a guard later on, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like,
Okay.
you have to get on a team which allows you to do that. If you get on a team and they have nobody bigger than you, you're going to be forced to be like close to the basket for the most part, even though the game has changed. You're still the center. And it's
Right.
like you won't have the ball most of the time. And it's like you have to get on a team where you're going to play the position that you're going to play in future time frames, at least on your way. And
Right.
that's the part of, and like Les and I talk about it all the time. Les when we grew up together, Ray, Les had probably, and until this day, and I'm not over exaggerating, and I ain't bragging about you, bro. So let's not get it twisted. But Ray, and I am not kidding you, he had probably one of the best jump shots of like middle school age,
Hmm.
at that age group of everybody in Brooklyn. The best jump shot. I'm telling you, dead serious. But he ended up playing on teams where he was the center, and that transitioned him out of the popping out. Like
Right.
Ray gave you the option. People at Let's Play for they didn't give him that option.
Hmm.
Right.
So his jump shot took a walk.
Yeah. For
Right.
real. For real. For real.
But
That's
it's like,
crazy.
yeah, and you see that now with kids. It's kind of like, you have to prepare yourself for where you're going to be 3 years from now versus addressing winning games for right now. You know, and
There's a little difference though. Now, it's a little difference. I see it in some of the training because now, okay, Les, myself, we would be guards. We would
Hmm.
be guards. So
Yeah.
now these guys are learning to put the ball down, and they're more versatile. They're inside, they outside, they can play inside. But now, come on, look at the guards now. The guards are 6'8", 6'10". Those are the guards.
yeah, yeah, and they
Back when
and
we
but
played,
it's
that was
not right.
unheard of.
Yeah, but it's
Yep.
not right to me though, Ray, and only because what they've really allowed is they've allowed, well, the coaches have stopped yelling at the big men for handling the ball. So now everybody wants to handle the ball. So now that transition is happening. But if that's happening, if I'm a 5'10" guard, what is my job? What do I do?
Work harder. Work
Yeah,
Yep.
but
harder because
that's
now,
the dilemma though. Yeah, but I'm just saying that's
right,
the dilemma. It's like,
right.
the smaller guard it's kind of like, where is their place in the game if the guards that have the speed, the agility to do those things, like
Mhm.
why do I have a guy that's 5'7"?
Yeah,
It's kind
well,
of,
there are not many of them nowadays.
yeah, yeah,
everybody is 6'6", 6'8". Those are the
Mhm.
guards.
yeah. And it's like,
You look at Ice. Look at Ice. You know, Jerry.
Right.
He was basically a god.
yeah,
Yeah.
You
yeah.
know,
Yeah.
And it's like, and that's what we all end up being anyway as time went on, being small forwards, two guards, that type
Mhm.
of position. And like I said, I was watching, Terry Cummins and them, and I'm looking at Petrovic. They had Petrovic playing forward for a while,
Hmm.
Mhm.
and but now it's like everybody wants to handle the ball. And, as years
That's the
went
way of the
on,
game.
you saw Shaq bringing the ball up sometimes, you
Right.
know, and if the coach doesn't say anything and he doesn't get it stolen, I guess it's okay, you know.
But to me, still, everybody, you still got to learn how to post up, man. Come on. I don't
Oh no,
care how big,
that's
how small.
definitely, you definitely need it. You need it.
Yeah.
You need it.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah, and it's
man.
just but it means that if you don't know how to do it, less that means that you were not working on that skill set, and so you catch now, a guy catches down low, and
But
he doesn't know how
do
to
you
make a
blame the
move,
player for that? Do you
huh?
blame the player for that, or do you blame the player for that, or are you blaming the coaches for that?
I don't know. I don't know. I think they both share some. What do you think, Les? Because for me, I would blame the individual. I don't know if Les, you feel the same way, but
I don't know. Yeah, I'm gonna tell you something, man. I blame the players, I blame the coaches, and I blame the parents because I had some kids I was working out, and I'm trying to show them how to post up, and the kid says I want to have an all around game, and I'm telling him, well, you still need to post up. And probably about 3 more sessions later, this father took me out. I took him about my little program, because he didn't believe in what I was trying to teach him. You
yeah,
know what I mean? Because they think that their kids are wherever, and they're not.
Right.
It's like your
Right.
kid needs to learn how to do this because right now he's the biggest kid in school. Even though
Right.
later on he may be a guard, but he still needs to know how to post up if he's going to get some playing time at the level
Right.
he's at.
yeah,
You know?
yeah,
Yeah.
without a doubt. And I once again I go back to Terry Cummins, man. It's like, why would you not want to learn how to have an efficient game like him? That
Mm-hmm.
if you are down low and you catch the ball, that you'll be successful in scoring a basket.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Right.
the only reason that's worthwhile learning it, is that if you're
Right.
down there, you'll know what to do with the ball. I'm
That's
not
it.
trying
Right.
to get you to be anything. I'm just saying you
Right.
catch the ball. If you catch the ball at half court, at some point in your life, you're taking half court shots. You should be kind of comfortable with saying, "Oh, it's 3 seconds left. Let me through it to shoot it." Because if not, you're either going to hold it or give it to somebody else to do it. You should learn all aspects of the game. Drop step,
Yeah.
layup, right? Regular layup. You know how to make a
Yo,
regular
Right.
layup?
turning face. I told this kid turning face. He's like, it's like he just keeps on walking. I'm
They don't
like,
know
I'm
how
gonna
to
show
do
you
that.
how to do this, man. And that's like
We
standing basketball, turning their face.
we
When
worked
you
on that kind of stuff at St. John's.
mm-hmm,
Once I got there, they
mm-hmm,
we worked
Turn,
on a lot of that stuff.
yeah, turn and face, right?
turning
Yeah.
face.
Yeah. And
But we
that's
were
And
more of a yeah.
I was gonna say though, a lot of times too, these guys who don't know how to do that, they're gonna turn around and there's gonna be a smaller guy on them. Walk him down to the block. Walk him down
Yeah.
to the block. Come on, mouse in the house, man. Come on, this guy's too little. He can't hold
Right.
me. And
Right. That's part of the
they
game.
don't think about that. They want to take a. They're
Right.
gonna bail the guy out and take a 3-pointer when he's got a
Right.
guy who's like half a foot shorter than him when he can take him down to the post. I
right.
don't
Mhm.
understand it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even in the pick and roll game, the pick and roll game is for you to be able to pick and pop and take a jump shot, not pick and
I
dunk.
pick and roll. Yeah,
There's
yeah,
no
yeah.
pick. There's no pick and dunk. It's pick and pop.
Pick
You
and
know,
pop.
Right.
they created a term for it. You know,
Right.
so pick and dunk is not in the wheelhouse of learning
And
because
that's
it's
what we
like,
used to
oh,
do, pick and dunk.
yeah,
Yep.
yeah, you know,
Yeah.
and then, but and dunking and scoring layups, it addresses certain things that makes the opponent have to adjust to. And since you don't do that anymore, I don't have to worry about that as a coach. I don't have
this
to
is
worry
true.
about your post-up game. Just play the guys on the 3-point line. You will be good.
Yeah.
You know,
Nowadays, the females are more fundamentally sound than the guys are.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
You know, no, I mean they are. I watched the Liberty game last night, and I was
that
impressed.
that double overtime joint, right?
yeah,
Yes,
yeah. I
That's
watched
just
the
what I'm
end of the
saying.
game myself, man, and
Yeah.
yes, I was
But
I was impressed. You know, they've
Yeah.
come a long way because I would never at one point watch their games. I just didn't think, well, you know, that they brought enough to the game. But now they got it.
But you want to
Yeah,
know
they got it.
something that's funny though? And an old head said this to me. He said and he's an old head girls coach, and he says, you know, he was really old guys in his 80s, man. He's like, they're following the path that we cleared, so they're way
No,
behind
yes,
us.
yes,
But
yes.
right now they're in the era of he was like the Billy Cunningham, you know, like Sam Worthing era, where like, you know, the 60s and the 70s era. That's where women's basketball is now. You know, 5-10 years from now, maybe progressively, they'll end up being like where we are now, you know, but we should go back and not totally back to, you know, like, you know, John Havlicek days, Bob Cousy, but
Now,
you know,
when you say that, you mean fundamentally?
yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
yeah, that women are
Okay.
fundamentally getting they've learned in the game, and the opportunities that are presented to them now is that fundamentally they're using that to have success, and it works.
Right.
It
Yeah.
works. You look at the big players, you know, for women, how they play. If you look at the guards, pick and rolls, the holding of the ball and you dribbling yourself for 18 seconds of the shot clock does not happen in women's basketball.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
No, but
They use the center. They use their center.
Yeah,
Yes,
but
absolutely.
you give an NBA guard the ball, he's gonna have the ball for like 16 seconds. And then give up
Girls
to
don't hold on.
somebody within a
Right.
24-second clock environment, you
Right.
know,
Right.
and no one sees a problem with that. I don't want you to have, well, you wouldn't want me to have the ball for 20 seconds of the shot clock, and then all of a sudden I give it to you, Ray, and now it's like you've got 4 seconds to make a decision.
Exactly.
Come
I
on,
was
man.
open 5 seconds ago, man. You
Yeah.
know.
And that's
Don't
the
get
other
the ball
thing.
back.
You know, see, I was open all this time, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
And so
But I'm gonna tell you, case in point though, right, is that talking about the girls, the women versus the men, is that I was watching the game, right? Fast break, right? 2 people on the wing. They went to the basket. Men's game, same thing. You know what I mean? They go out to the wing for the 3-pointer.
Yeah.
And that's like, come on, man. Come
Yeah.
on. It's
And case in point, the game I was watching, Portland against San Antonio, they running a fast break. Rod Strickland had the rock down the middle, you know, guys on the wings going to the hoop, Sean Elliott, and you know what I'm saying? So the game has totally changed so much, you know. And I guess it'll come back to some degree because they'll find a hole with this process. But our error,
Well, I don't know. I don't know.
You don't know?
Because you okay, now you're bringing in, you got this what, Women Yama, this big kid, you know, all of these guys are like hybrids that, you know, they're, remember when we were younger, the big man was like a robot.
Yeah.
You know, now these kids are they're growing taller and they're more agile. You know, so the game is just it's just gonna keep evolving. You know,
but is the evolution going in the right evolution direction, or
I don't
should
know.
it be
I guess
tweaked?
that would be up for debate.
True.
You know, that would be
True.
up for debate. You know, because what we did and what they're doing now is different. The whole object of the game is to put it in the basket and win. You know, by any means necessary, I guess. And
Right.
they just don't. Uh, we're so accustomed to doing it one way. These kids
Mhm.
nowadays, you can't even talk to them. That's just what they do. You
Right.
Right.
know,
Right.
so it's up for debate. You know,
Mm.
because you figure now, okay, you look at it now. If we're even here, Victor's game, here he is, what 7 all
Yeah.
or whatever
Yep.
it is, and
Hmm.
he handling. You know, look at him, he's crossing over, and he's behind the back, and he's pulling up, shooting fadeaway jumpers, and going on. Will he still be doing that 10 years from now? When he
Hmm.
when he puts on a little weight, you know,
Hmm.
and the guys start banging him, now he's gonna have to learn the paint game because you
Right.
know, come on, you lose that jumping ability after a while. You
Right.
know,
Yeah.
guys is gonna
True.
start laying on him all these
Yeah.
years. He's gonna have injuries.
Because
See how
just
the
as
game changes. He's
right,
gonna have
because
to adjust.
right,
Yeah.
because just how he's gotten, he's at a certain capability now, the
Right,
defenders and the opponents are going to learn how to combat a guy like
right,
him. And plus, like you
and it
said,
don't take long.
yeah, and 5 years later, you put on that extra weight, then you're
Hmm.
not running down the court, you're a little bit closer.
Hmm.
Yeah, you're right. Things change, and
Yep.
plus it all depends on where he takes his career. Does he take it to the point of like staying in that perimeter environment, or does he stay
Hmm.
close to the basket just out of happenstance that he ends up because he can take advantage of people there. If he starts
Yeah, again.
acknowledging that he can dog a guy close to the basket without all the other hoopla, he'll probably, he might learn quicker than others.
Hmm.
Well, he has the right coach, I think.
Right,
He got the right
Oh,
coach.
definitely. Definitely the
He
right
got the right
coach.
coach.
Yeah.
right.
He's got the right coach for that.
Yeah. But
So
but you know how that changes as well, guy leaves his post.
Yeah, but I think he had a harness on Robinson and Duncan.
Hmm.
He coached the hell out of them and they respected him. You know, so I don't think he had a problem with them. So I think the same thing is gonna go with this kid. The kid gonna do what he say.
Right. And he'll
I
learn.
hope so though, but I hope that he doesn't break him. As far as like trying to make him a Duncan or a Robinson. Because this guy, like you said, is a rare breed now. So you gotta
Hmm.
let him. You gotta let the wild horse run a little bit. So
Right.
let him see what he can do, and then try to tame him in a little bit so he can have the combination.
Right.
Because the guy is kind of special. He's kind of special.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. And the one
Hmm.
thing I think that, falls on his back to try to get him prepared for is to have longevity in the game. Please
Yeah.
don't
Right.
end up being a Sam Bowie.
Yeah.
Please.
Right.
You
Right.
know, and when I say longevity, at least let him get like 7, 8, 9 years and at minimum,
Right.
Hmm. Right.
because because that's the other part of the game that's become a little different than when we played is the injuries that occur
Mm.
with these players, man. It's
We
like
didn't get hurt like these guys. I remember coming up. I had canvas Converses
Absolutely.
and
Absolutely.
never sprained my ankle.
Hmm.
Never,
Yep. Yep.
never.
I
You know,
was looking at a
I
pair of
wore two or
canvas.
three. I wore two or three pairs of socks.
Socks. Yep.
And,
Yep. Yep.
yeah, and 2 or 3 pairs of socks, which was a must. I could not play with less than 2 pair on. I always
Hmm.
had 2 or 3 pairs of socks on. And when we first started out, like I said, we were in the canvas Converses, and then we were evolved into the
The
leather
Dr.
sneakers and
J's.
things. The
Yeah.
doctor,
Yep.
right? The Dr. J's and the ponies, you
Right.
know,
Hmm.
Yeah.
stuff like that. The Pro Kids, but never.
It says pro kids.
Right? No, really. I never ever sprained my ankle.
Yeah. I was looking
I
at a
never.
pair of Converses the other day, man. I was in this store and I'm telling you, I don't know how we did. I mean, I actually like looked all through it inside the
Right.
sneaker.
You want to know how we did it, but
Yeah, and I'm
you
like,
make do with
damn,
what you have.
and that rubber was so soft, man. It
Right,
is that
right.
the bottom of the Converse is so soft and rubbery and
Right.
bending, whereas
Right.
like you could fold your sneakers in half. Like
Yeah.
actually take the front to the back and make them touch. You can't do
Mhm.
that with
But we
sneakers
played.
now. You
But
Yeah.
we
can't bend.
played in
Nah,
those,
you
man.
can't. You can't bend a pair of Air Jordan.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and
Right.
it's like, and there were times where, at least for me, I was playing and I had holes in them,
You had a hole in the bottom of them joints. Yeah. Hey,
Yeah.
and a
Yeah.
piece of
you had to do
cardboard. I
what
had
you
a
had to
piece of
do.
cardboard in that bad boy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
So,
man.
so the
But yo,
sock
but Ray,
couldn't get a hole.
Though, I getting back to your point about how we played in those campus joints. Me and Eric talked about this before. I was saying it's because as our bodies were growing, our bodies were maturing because we didn't have anything to hold them in. Now these
Right.
kids from day
Your
one,
body adapted. Right. They have so
right?
much of this hybrid, this new stuff. Right.
Yeah, all these kids are growing up with this stuff that's it's so protective that they don't grow.
Right.
Their bones don't
Right.
grow, and that's why
Right.
ain't
We
nobody
played
had.
on concrete. We played on
Come on,
asphalt.
man. Who
Yeah.
you telling? That's right. And nobody had no Achilles joints. I never heard that shit until recent, in the last 10,
Right.
15 years. Maybe
Right.
a hamstring if plus, I don't know, man. I stretched on the lab line. That was my warm-up. These kids now, an hour before the game, they're getting all stretched out. And I guess it's good, but I never did that shit, man.
Yeah.
No. Mhm.
The extensive
Yeah.
level of the stretching done to like optimize you is like that's somebody, a sports science guy who is, like changed the industries for that as well. Just like you
Mhm.
said, that the game has changed, the things that support the game have changed.
Yeah.
But what I see with that though, when it comes to that part, the recovery time
Mhm.
is shorter, but
Mhm.
the amount of times that people get hurt, excuse me, is totally different. We didn't get hurt like that.
Yeah.
No.
We
Yeah.
did not get hurt.
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
And I
And
mean,
it's
come on, we battled and banged. Yeah, you might have had a mouse over your eye and all that kind of other stuff, but the rest of that breaking this and break. Once in a while, you would see a guy break his leg playing ball.
right.
Right.
Once in the
Right.
blue,
Right.
but
Once in a blue.
popping
Maybe
your
maybe
Achilles
once in
tendon.
maybe once in your lifetime. You haven't seen multiple people break
No,
something,
right,
you know.
right,
Yeah, and the
right.
change that has happened, and I like to
We
speak to
played
what
and fell
Les,
and everything.
yeah, but to speak to what Les said, playing on concrete, like landing on concrete, it hardened the muscles and
Your
everything
body got
that when
stronger.
you
Yeah.
landed, you had to land, your body adjusted for that landing, and now everything, kids down here in the South, they don't play outside at all. There's no
Right.
playing outside. They go in gyms. It's a softer surface, blah, blah, blah. But then you're trying things and not without it being tested. See, our
Right.
playing of casual basketball, Utah, whatever it is, 3-on-3, 2-on-2, in the parks, those things created your ability to verify making that move. Now these guys are making an untested move to the basket, and I see it a lot because being in the gym with kids, you see a kid trying to make moves like, what? Why did you think you were going to make that basket? You jumped too far away. You didn't have it in the right hand. You then you just threw it at the basket. So you never experimented. You're experimenting that was not at a high level. Like you said, Ray, shooting at that one brick all the time. You know how many times that I went against Les back and forth, trying different things, imitating Clyde Frazier, the Doc, John
Yep.
Havlicek, blah, 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 blah. We tested ourselves as individuals. So it wasn't like school team or club team. It was as an individual going in the park. You're not going as a team, and you're experimenting with your game. So you're learning who you are. They don't have that now, and that's not to go off cuff, but that's one of the reasons why the showcase camp that I do, how that became something. It's like you're going to this camp as an individual, not as a team, or it's not a tournament, but you're going to be playing games. It's up to you. Your high school or club coach is not going to interfere with you. You're going to see what you do as yourself against top players of your age group. you know,
Right.
and a
Did you
lot
go
of
to
kids.
Did you go to 5 Star?
Yeah, huh?
Okay, Les, did you go?
No, no,
Oh,
no, man.
okay.
My high school career was short, man. It was uneventful, But I had one good year. That's all it took,
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
Right.
yeah, and but those things of the development that we all experience, that was what gave us an identity of our game, right? That's you had an identity. Oh, that guy could jump. Or that guy could shoot. He got good ball hand skills. Blah 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 blah. Or he does everything well. These kids now, it's all about training, training, training for nothing that's going to give you an identity. It's just training on skill sets, but you still haven't created an identity of who you are as a player, and that's important because it makes you add to the value of that team to have an identity, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And the guys that figure it out, like the guy Ponchero that played with Duke, that's in the league now with the Orlando Magic, he has an identity. You could see as he was growing during his youthful years that his game had an identity. And that's why he became the pro that he is. The way he plays, you could see he's a mature game, you know. And that's the part that's lost for me, man. I'm looking at it from a different perspective than regular fans look at it, so to speak.
Yeah, we do. I think we have being ball players or ex-ball players, we analyze the game. We
Yeah.
analyze the game. I mean, from start to finish. At least I know I do. I sit down sometime. I watch a lot of the like the hardwood classic games, and you see all the holes. You see all the mistakes.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, you
And it's
you
like,
see, and you're like the fundamentals or just the style of some of these players. And I'm saying to myself, you ever sit back because some of these cats, well, from back in the day that made it to the league, and you say to yourself, I used to tear that cat a new ass. And this dude, I remember one day, it was funny. I went to remember they used to have the wheelchair classic
mm,
at the Garden, and they started doing it with the NBA players, right? And afterwards, they would have like an after party. So I goes to the after party. I believe it was at Hard Rock Cafe. So I get there, and I mean, it's like amazing people outside the place, chicks everywhere, the bouncers at the door telling the females, "Get out of here!" Blah 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 blah. Get out. Hank Carter
Mhm.
comes out, and he sees me. I said, "Hey, Hank," and he looks at me, and goes, "Oh wow." Let him in. He's supposed to be in here with these guys because there was nothing but the NBA players in it. So I
Mhm.
go in and we sit down and we talking, and Alex English, Sam Cassell, this one, that one. I mean, half the NBA's up in this joint. And one of the guys was it English. One of the man, this dude right, Sid was in there. Kevin Garnett came through. That was his rookie year,
mm,
you know. And like, yo, this dude right here used to shoot it. I'm looking at the guy like, yeah, but y'all making millions doing this. I'm just, I'm just, I'm just, I'm just. Don't worry about what I did or how I shot it. Y'all doing what y'all do right now. I'm just here to enjoy, man. It was. But you watch these guys, and some of them you look at them and say, I used to do that, or
Yeah,
I could have
yeah.
handled that. You know, that's
yeah.
the only part that I miss. Or I hate where okay, I'm gonna go on to back to like my St. John's here. So I'm quite sure a lot of people wonder like, okay, what transpired at St. John's?
Mhm.
You know, um, being that like I said, Louis had been hollering at me since I was probably 16, 17 years old. But we didn't get along.
Really?
We didn't get along. We really didn't get along. To me, and he lied. He lied to me.
Mhm.
He lied to me. I had what was it? It was the All American New York City All American Dream Team or something to that effect that I had made, and they had this big banquet with all the college players and NBA players, at Madison Square Garden, and I get this award, and I'm standing there talking to Willis Reed, and one of the newspaper poster somebody wanted to interview me. So I'm talking to the guy, and of course, Louis sees that because he's there. He's one of the spokespeople for the thing. He comes over and he starts. Oh, this is one of my guys. He's going to do a lot for us. This, and that, because I was actually considering getting up out of there. I had other coaches hollering at me, Louis ain't gonna do you right. He ain't gonna do you right. And I wanted to stay close to home because it was just my mom and my sisters and stuff. So that's what made me choose that school. When I left high school, I had what 360, 50 some odd college scholarship. Boy, I could have went to any school in the country.
Boxes and boxes, right, Ray?
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I chose that. If I had to do it all over again, I'd have never I'd have threw his letter out.
Yeah.
Wow.
Truth be told, me and Phil reclassed. You know that, right?
Really?
Yeah, because we went to college the following year.
Right.
So and so I'm just saying, as far as like, Luke Hornacek, all he was doing was trying to pad his roster. And, people get shitted on. And when a coach does that and tries to pad the roster with great players, something is going to fall off the shelf,
Yeah, he did it. He did it to come on, Kurt Redding, Barry Washington.
Yeah, that's right. And
Kevin Williams.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah. And I'm not going to say my opinion about what transpired, but I kind of have a sense of understanding, Eggman and that Riverside connection. You look at that environment, and there's some, things that were going on that, were weird. And it's very, very crazy because Luke Hornacek was, I mean, it was unbelievable. I ended up going with me and one of my teammates at Midwood, rest in peace, Monterey Quigley. My high school coach lived in Long Island. And when Bernard and Ernie Grunfeld came to play St. John's, like we were like sitting right behind the bench. I had a long conversation with him in his office before the game. And not even me and my buddy, it was just me by myself. He had to wait outside. And that's what he was spewing, like, yeah, trying to get, upper hand. I was a sophomore, so that's what he did. And he hurt a lot of players' careers just by happenstance. It's like you got 15 All-Americans. How are all 15 going to play? But you're promising people stuff.
Right.
And people would question that and say, well, you shouldn't have went there. Look, back off.
Not just that you shouldn't have went there, but I could care less what the next cat thinks about me or thinks about my game. That's not what I was put here for. I could care less. You don't justify me.
Right.
So somebody can say, oh, Ray James went to such and such and he ain't do shit. Dude, you knew if I caught you on that court, you was gonna have a problem.
Absolutely. Right. Absolutely.
Yeah, but everybody's on the outside because they don't know what's going on.
I can speak to that firsthand. That buckets were made by this guy at a ridiculous pace, man.
Yes, sir.
I know. So
they don't know.
Yeah. And it's very weird because, and I also say this as well, Les knows this, we were all interchangeable because of, once again, the things that we say, our ability to be efficient, we all had skill sets at a high level that somebody else could have been in your position and you could have been in theirs and had major success. Orlando Blackman could have been the odd man out and I could have been the one there, or, you could have been, you instead of this guy or Les instead of that guy, you know,
Right.
and it's like
Right.
the luck of the draw drove us to certain
No, it
locations,
is. It really is. Ro
you
and I
know.
used to play together quite often.
Mm.
They paired us up together a lot, quite often. We actually, he and I even traveled together on visits to colleges.
Okay.
You know, they tried to get he and I to Robert Parrish's school, Centenary. We went out
Hmm.
there. You know, they were constantly close trying to pair us, but you know, who was better? No one could ever say. He and I never played, I would say, against each other. You
Mm.
know,
Yeah. And that's funny. That's
he
funny thing you mentioned Centenary because they were like in New York City's backyard constantly because they had George Lett, Cherokee Rome, Paris had played there. They
right.
tried to get Jesse Massey in there, you know.
Okay.
Centenary was in New York City's back, like backyard,
I
like,
didn't know. Dan, I had no idea.
yeah, they were
Mm.
after every player there because they were like an independent,
Okay.
right?
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
so they were
Hmm.
out there. They were chasing the rabbit. They never caught it, I guess. But
Yeah. Just
um,
Robert Parrish.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. But they had
Hmm.
good teams. George Lett was like number 5 scorer in the country, and
Okay.
but it was like really weird, man, that we had every school coming to New York to look at players,
Oh,
and
back then, but nowadays I don't know if it's the same.
yeah. And Les and I talk about it all the time. Like I don't really know. I'm just making a lot of guessing, but they don't recruit players like the way they did in New York anymore. They go to these events and
Hmm.
like if
Mm.
you're a good player and you're in New York, or if you're in New York or New Jersey, I guarantee you sneaker companies are going to find you and they're going to send you to IMG and down the whatchamacallit in Florida with Coach Boyle, like the St. Pats of the world. They get the best players. And so you look at the brochure, this guy that plays for IMG, they're in like some other state, and
Hmm.
like his hometown, Brooklyn, New York. But the school's out in
Hmm.
Arizona or something like that.
Mm.
And you never know it, but they snatch these people out of there, but then that speaks to the other problem of how the PSAL is now and all of the rules you know and it's kind of like kidnapping, so to speak. So if
Okay.
you're good, the sneaker company
Hmm.
will kidnap you, so to speak. They'll
Well, I guess
recommend.
that's what they do. They do that overseas. That's what they
Yeah,
do
Hmm.
overseas. You know, the ball players, they're like it's like a factory for them. You
right,
know, if you
Yeah.
play ball and you're good, you're here, and you don't go home, you don't do nothing. They
right,
raise
Yeah.
you. You know, they raise
Yeah.
you to do just that.
right.
So
And then
it's
you're on
pretty
the,
much the
then
same
you're on
thing.
you're on then you're on the national team. And
Right.
oddly enough, during my coaching years, like 5 years ago, like Australia, every like Christmas time in Australia is their spring break. Like
Okay.
or like their summer vacation is during Christmas time for us. And they have
Hmm.
there's like 5 teams that come to United States and they tour. They're playing in North Carolina, then they're in
Okay.
Wisconsin,
Yeah.
Hmm.
and I'm not kidding you. These good basketball players, man. I'm serious. Canada does
Right.
the same thing. I don't know
Hmm.
Right.
if you remember Quincy Miller that played for Baylor, and he got drafted, but he was like in the beginning of the Canada explosion. Now all these
Hmm.
players are coming from Canada, you
Yeah, it's
know.
a lot
And,
coming from. Hmm.
yeah, and so it's like you said, man, it's a farm. It's like, instead of getting fish out of the ocean, now you're
Right.
creating a fish farm,
Right.
and the pick of the litter is available to you. So
Right. Hmm.
and plus NBA players, they're having babies just so that they can play in the NCAA tournament. Because
Isn't
every
that
NBA
crazy?
player's got a son playing on somebody's team,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And but now, you know, it's like you give it that part I really don't like. You know, if you're good, okay. But now it's like every person that's playing now has a son, like you said, that's going into, and it's almost like they have a street path. Phew, I'm gonna go here, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna play in this tournament, and I'm going right to the league.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
They don't go to college? Are they going to college? What are they doing? You know, they have this new tournament thing now where they opt out of going to college, and you're playing this like semi type pro league or whatever. So you opting out of college and giving up your college rights and all. That is a little crazy because we all know, you know, the cheering's going to stop, the ball's going to stop bouncing. You
Yeah.
know, everybody doesn't have a parent in the game, but what are you going to do afterwards?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
What do you have to fall on afterwards? See, they're not talking about that part.
Yeah.
All those kids are not going to make it. You can't.
Right.
Right.
You
Mm-hmm.
know,
There's not enough
what do you,
jobs.
Yeah.
it's not.
Mm-hmm.
It's not.
Yeah.
What are you going to do?
Yeah.
And
You have
you
to go to
learn,
work, and you have no college education, no
yeah,
degrees, no nothing. You went straight for the money.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you learn that living has nothing to do with the NBA.
Right. Right.
Absolutely nothing to do with the NBA. It's living
And
is living your life, man, and that requires
right.
certain skill sets.
I get
Raising,
it that you're young and you don't
yeah,
understand it.
yeah, raising a child, having a home. These things require
Mhm.
your attention, and if
Right.
you don't have those skill sets, and when the money goes away, you got to get a job, and it's like
Right.
and it's like unfortunately, use an example that the Cleveland Brown guy that hurt his knee, and I saw that bend, and that's the same
Oh,
leg
you talking
that
about what's the guy? What was his name? Chubb?
Jim Chubbs, right? And he hurt his knee.
He's done.
He's
Is he done or
done.
what?
My opinion, I think his
That kid
career
was,
is
and he
done.
was good. He was playing very
Yeah,
well that game.
yeah. Now,
But yeah, that's done.
if he doesn't ever play again, what is he going to do afterwards? Blah
Right.
blah blah. And it's like, and it's sad, and I see it all the time with guys
Mhm.
here. Guy played at Carolina. He's still chasing the game, still chasing the
Right.
game. And it's like,
Right.
well, what do you do? What do you learn to do? But then on the other side, another young man, I'm gonna throw his name out. His name is Keith Gabriel, played at VMI.
Okay.
Unbelievable. I used to train him. Unbelievable guard. I'm telling you. This guy is like in the community now. He works for Duke Power. He's working some program with Duke Power doing stuff in the community. He educated himself. And I'm looking at the
Right.
two same age group. And one
Mhm.
guy and he still plays here and there, but he's married, has children now, and he's moving forward. This other guy standing still chasing the game. Well, I'm gonna be playing overseas. Oh, I'm gonna be doing this and that. Like, where you living? Oh, I'm back with my mom. Like, you know.
Yeah.
I could barely remember when I was 35, 38, because that's basically when a lot of them stopped playing. And
Mm-hmm.
then the real world thing comes in. Yeah, you could chase the game, you could go overseas, you could do whatever, but you're gonna have to stop
All right.
eventually. And now what are you gonna do? That was a question that I used to always get. Oh, you think you're going pro, you're gonna do this, you're gonna do that. And I always said I take it as it comes because it was something that I enjoyed doing. It wasn't my life. I didn't let it take over my life like that.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah.
know, I
Yo,
enjoyed all the accolades.
mm-hmm. Yeah.
I enjoyed
Speaking
all
of
the
which, man,
accolades and stuff.
what did you do after you left St. John's?
Oh, I worked for IBM
Mm-hmm.
for a while, and I wasn't liking that. It was like you had not what you know is who you know.
Mm-hmm.
Here it is. I went to school, got a degree. I did all everything I had to do, and I worked there for a while, and I really wasn't feeling it. And I used to when I was in St. John's, the what was it, Cuomo, Mario Cuomo. They
Right.
all those cats used to come to our games all the time. So they were
Mm-hmm.
always in the locker room with their kids. The one that's always on TV now with the show, and we used to sign their
Just Cuomo.
basketballs.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we used to sign their balls and stuff like that for them. And he used to always say, if you guys ever find yourself not being able to find something out there in that white collar, go blue collar and take some of these city exams and stuff like that, and you will, you'll you'll be all right. And I
Mm-hmm.
never forgot that,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And like I said, I was working for IBM, but I on the side I was putting in applications with the city. And corrections called me up, and I went. You know, it was a crazy job, but I learned how to make it work for me. I went in quiet. I didn't go in there on some Ray James shit. I ain't do none of that. Half the cats didn't know I even played ball. So they see me in the gym one day. They're like, "Yo, this dude is walking in the door, shooting jumpers from the door. Who is this dude?" You know. But you know, I did that, and I ended up working there for 30 years.
Wow.
I did it for 30 years, and I used to have a supervisor, and his saying was, "It may not be the best job, but it'll be the best job you ever had." I don't worry about nothing now, you know. So, like I said, I didn't the basketball part of my life. I enjoyed it, you know, but I'm really enjoying this part of my life,
Yes,
you
yes.
know, and because I don't have to worry. I'm not worrying about nothing. Everything that you did, you can do. Maybe not on that scale as far as being an NBA player or whatever the case may be. I have all that, you know. You got the cars, you got the yards, you got the house, you know, you got this same shit. I
Yeah.
have all those things. So what more do I need?
Another
Ray is
brim.
good.
Another brim, man.
Oh,
Another brim
oh,
and another stick, right?
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. There you go. And here you go.
There
Yes,
we go.
sir. Yes,
That's
sir.
my man right there. That's
Yeah,
my man
man.
right there.
You know,
Yeah.
and that's what it's supposed to be, Ray. You know, living
Right.
life, man, and
Yeah.
maturing, and then I hate this term, living your best life. I don't know what that means,
I
but
don't know
you're
what that
living.
means either.
Yeah, but you're living your life, and every effort is to have a best life. Sometimes you don't, but believe it or not, being a competitor as an athlete, it prepares. If you paid attention to what you learned, then you know
Right.
walking away from a loss is not the end all begin all. You know,
Right.
walking away from a win is not an end all begin all. You know,
Right.
there's another contest going forward, you know. So
Right.
Yeah.
so every challenge you head it up and then you let it pass and you go on to the next thing, you know, and that's available to you if you were an athlete because you learned that. How you
Right.
transition that knowledge to real life is up to you, you know.
Right. True.
But you,
True.
but you know, but and
100%
it's
correct.
funny because, like you said originally, way back in this conversation, how you looked upon it and how you know you were as far as a play was concerned. Um, that's what prepared you for that, and all of our trials and tribulations. I resort to everything I've learned as an athlete to deal with the stuff that has happened to me. Believe me, you know,
Absolutely.
and so that's what we do, as well as the fact that we draw on each other. You know, we're
Most
talking
definitely.
what we talking like here. Let me see. Let's just say 1977. We're
We
talking,
go back, Eric. We go back,
yeah, but
especially you and I. We go back.
I'm
You know.
but I'm saying from like just 1977, using that as a gauge, that's
Okay.
45 years or 46 years. Excuse me, right? 46 years that we've, you know, known each other and we still discuss and talk about things and still, you know, we're still alive. You know,
Right.
I've known less since 1960.
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
19, when were you born, Ray?
58.
All right, well, and although you see, I've known this guy since I was basically born, because I
Yeah.
was born in 59. So um so it's like we draw on each other, and you know the basketball community, that's what it is. It's a fraternity all in itself,
No
you
Most
know,
doubt.
definitely. Most
and
definitely.
nobody can tarnish that because the what it how it serves us. It's not like it serves us. Hey man, we've got a game. No, we're not talking about having a game anymore. We're talking about, you know, family things, life things, you know, death things, and you know,
Yeah.
people's careers, and it's a lot of reminiscing that goes on, and those things are special that because we have things to reminisce about. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
And
Like
that's the
some
beauty of it all. That's the beauty of it all.
Yeah,
They can't take away what you were.
That's
yeah,
right.
Bernie Mac said, they can't take away what you were. You know, I don't care what the naysayers say or the haters, whatever you want to call them. They can't take away what you did, you know, and
That's
they
right.
can't take your memories away, you know.
yeah.
Yeah, for
You
real.
know,
And
For
there's
real.
somebody out there who remembers, even though I don't need that to push me through life.
Right.
It's
That doesn't
nice,
define you. Yep. Yep.
right?
Yeah.
It's nice. You know, it's nice to walk down the street sometimes. You know, it happens. I go out sometimes and, yo, I remember you.
Mm-hmm.
You Ray James? And I'm like, yeah, you know, yo, man, you bust my shit. You did whatever. And that's cool. You know, that's cool.
Yeah.
Make I smile and like, yeah, okay. Or you
but
get a
but
guy who tries to
Ray,
bring it.
most likely it might have happened to you. Like you're talking to that guy, you turn around and there's somebody else. You turn around somebody else, and they're all like, "Damn, that guy bust my ass. Damn, that guy bust." Like before you know it,
Yeah.
the whole damn place is saying that guy used to bust my.
Yo, and then you get that one guy that says, "I don't like you, man. You fucking dunked on me, man."
You know how many guys I've had that from?
Oh,
You know,
Yeah.
you know, God bless the dead, Rick, the one that just passed away, Ricky
Yeah,
Davis.
Big Rick. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Rick. I love that dude, man.
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
that dude. He used to hang out with Parker a lot, Aronia Parker.
yeah, uh-huh.
I
That's
think
right. They were
Richie
boys.
Gordon and them, and Richie
Yeah.
Gordon and them, yeah. And he used to always say, "Ain't nobody dunking on me. I ain't letting nobody dunk on me." And I used to say to him all the time, "We get you, we
Mm-hmm.
get you." Until one year we were playing at West 4th Street, and I saw they gave me a hole, and he was there, and I got him. I just looked at him. I said, "Got you."
There you go. Yeah, you know,
I got you.
there's people that are on that list, man. For me, my one culprit, man, and I will never forget this, man, is your boy Satch. I'm sorry, not Satch, Stretch. Excuse me, Stretch
Yeah,
Graham,
Stretch.
because my first ever high school game, Ray,
Did he toss it?
was against Lafayette, and he played
Mhm.
part of the JV game and then played in the varsity game, and he dogged all my classmates that were on the JV. I was on the varsity, so the varsity game played. I killed them, but we had a history because I played against them in that movie about him. You know, they did that movie, The American Game, about.
Right, I remember
I
that.
was in
I
that
remember
movie,
that.
and I was
Mhm.
busting his ass in St. John's Rec, but they showed me busting his ass in the film,
Mhm.
and I'm serious. So
Mhm.
but that game that I told you that we played, y'all, at St. John's, I threw it on
Right.
his ass. And
Mhm.
when we tried to do that documentary, I called him to talk to him, and he was like, I said, "Yo, man, I'm gonna dunk on you like I did back in the day." And so he was like, "Who is this?" And so I said, "It's a guy that dunked on you a lot back in the day." So he's like, I said, "It's Eric Short." And then he ain't saying nothing. And then he was like, "Brooklyn Eric Short?" I'm like, "Yeah, Brooklyn Eric Short." He was like, and we never got along, Ray, for real. We never got along. And he's like, "Oh man, how you doing, man? It's so nice to hear from you." Totally different guy. I'm
People
serious.
change. People change over
It
the years. You
was,
know, back in the day, it was the ego.
yeah,
You had to
yeah.
be that way, you know. But you
It
see how
was,
people change, you
yeah,
know.
it was some Ray. I'm telling you, I almost started crying, man, because we never got along, man. Never.
Mhm.
And now we talk periodically, man. And I'm like, you know, and
That's
it's
cool.
like
I haven't
really nice, but that evolution. See, once again, we said about how you mature when your career's
right.
over, you know,
Mhm.
and and I can say that about a lot of guys. There's a lot of guys still running around thinking they're nice though. At 63, they think that they're still nice, getting trophies.
That's the funniest thing, man. Come on, I tell you, people look at me sometimes and they say, "Damn, man, you still in kind of some kind of shape. You look like you can still play a little bit." I said, "Man, nah, no, I haven't picked up a basketball in 15 years, 15, 20
Mhm.
years, man. I'm not doing that." You know, I said,
Mhm.
it don't heal the same.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
doesn't
Exactly.
heal the
Exactly.
same, man. That shit hurts, man. Come
Yeah.
on, it
Yeah.
hurt
yeah,
walking up the stairs sometime, man. Come on.
yeah,
True.
man. But
True.
it's like, but once again, man, it's like the relationships that were built that they mean so much. They have impacted us all in some way. And however anybody wants to treat it and handle it, that's fine with me. But I know that it was a special time, and our experiences were incredible because, I mean, man, we have a freaking national title under our belts, man.
Right.
Not that many people can
Mhm.
say that, man. I'm serious, man. And
Mhm.
that was a special time, like that, just all of our years playing,
Mhm.
and things have changed so much and we've become men, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's a beautiful thing, man, without a doubt,
Mhm.
you know.
Yeah.
I,
Great,
I'm
great.
gonna go off the cuff a bit, man, right now. And now I know like earlier before we started the show, we got some disturbing news about the passing of Phil Sellers, uh, Jefferson High School great, Rutgers University great, passed away last night. And so I just want to say, may he rest in peace, man. He was a good brother, and he's one of our legends. And
Bless you. Yeah.
much respect for that brother. You know,
Oh, most
Absolutely.
definitely.
and
Yep.
condolences to his family and to the Rutgers Jefferson High School family. You know,
Right.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely. I watched him. I used to watch them when I was coming up. So just really starting to get into the game. Used to sit back and watch Rutgers because they had a team. Oh my
Yes,
God,
they
did they have
did.
a team?
Yeah.
And then you had I used to watch them and they played against like the Kentuckies and the this and the Ken Benson and this one. There was a lot of good players back then, but Rutgers had a team, and I used to love watching Phil Sellers and them guys play, man. And
yeah,
I
man,
used to always say to myself, one day, man, one
yeah,
Right.
day, I'm going to do that.
right. And he's, I think that he was, and I could be wrong. It's just my memory where it's at. He was one of the first um, nationally talked about high school recruits that went to a good college, like from Brooklyn, that they talked about that I could remember. It was a
Okay.
big deal, like him going to Rutgers and then him having that success at Rutgers.
Hmm.
And like they talk about everybody has their shine, over the years.
Right. Hmm.
That should have been that conversation should have been maybe before that would have been probably, Connie Hawkins, but his college, environment was a little different. So that shine didn't happen. But Phil Sellers was one of the first to have that kind of like transition from New York into, major college. And
Right. That team in
that's what
itself was a beast.
yeah,
Oh yes. Oh yes.
That team was ridiculous.
yeah. And he garnered a lot of respect. And that's because how he carried himself.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Once again, man, it's that, that maturity level that he had. That's something that a lot of people don't respect out of New York basketball players, is that we actually did conduct ourselves, at least our era around that time. We
Right.
conduct ourselves like statesmen. That the way
Hmm.
that the doc act, we all conducted ourselves like that.
Correct.
Lester
Correct.
Roberts was not having that crazy ass mentality. Neither was
No, but
George
we were
Murray
raised
McGill.
like that. Our
Yeah,
parents, you contribute that to
Absolutely.
your parents
yeah,
and the coaches as well. We just didn't, and then they put us. You gotta think for our age groups. You know, we were exposed to a lot at a young age. All the
Mhm.
how many kids, can you actually say, at our age, from 14, 15, 16, where the etiquette of going away from your parents and stuff like that. Your parents always told you, you don't do this, you don't do that. And you had the opportunity, you're flying to Arizona, you're going overseas, you're going
Mhm.
here, you're going from the age of 15, 14, 15, 16 years old. So we kind of was living a different kind of lifestyle,
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
and
No,
it carries on
yeah, knowing how to,
to our adulthood.
yeah, knowing how to conduct yourself in the airport, man.
Yeah,
And
just stuff like that. Yeah,
Something as
yeah,
simple as that. Yep. Yep.
you're
yeah,
right. Something as
Mhm.
simple as that.
and
Yeah.
because you
And
don't want the wrath of Gil Reynolds, George Merton, Lester Roberts, none of those guys. You don't want them to say,
Right.
you don't want that, like the worst thing to happen is to be for you to embarrass the program,
Correct.
and that's not what we're not going to let you do that. And
Right.
like you said, you learned that at an early age, man, and to be able to travel,
And it carries on. Yeah.
yeah, without a doubt, man. And it's like you might not kick in for some people, but eventually kind of kicks in. But then you look back, look at everybody now.
Right.
I don't know any, I don't know, and I really mean this. I don't know any criminal guys that played ball back in the day. I don't know anybody that's beat their wife. I don't know any of them that, have, robbed a bank or committed, some atrocity. We all turned out to be fairly decent human beings.
For the most part, there are a
Yeah,
few who
yeah, there are
fell through the
some that
cracks,
haven't
but
gotten caught yet, right,
yeah,
Les?
but yeah, there's a few. There's a few who fell
Yeah,
through the cracks.
mess
I
around and
remember
see
like
mess around and see Les on America's Most Wanted tomorrow.
I remember how did you handle or how did you deal with the recruiting aspect of the game? How did you deal with that part of the attention?
Uh, wow, for me, because of my immaturity then, because that's what got in the way because of me messing up in school. I kind of like this funny thing you're asking that question because there are two parts to it. The first part
Mhm.
is when I was, eligible, because I was ineligible for a while. But when
Okay.
I was eligible, um, very properly, because my mom had all the boxes. And I had like
Mhm.
like 300 letters, man. My mom had them all.
Yeah.
So it was like
Mhm.
everything went through her. And
Right.
but it's funny because like 90% of them she was discarding. With no, not that school,
Okay.
not that school, not that school.
Mhm.
Afterwards, I didn't know what to do because I wasn't involved. Like I said, I let her handle it. And when I became
Mhm.
ineligible, they all stopped communicating with me. Every single one
Uh,
of those schools, Ray. Every
mhm.
single one of them. And then
Wow.
what saved me, and you're not going to believe this, what saved me was that trip to Arizona when we won.
Okay.
That's what saved me because at that time, that's when Murray State,
Mhm.
Alabama, Tulsa, um, somebody in Texas, I forget which one it was, all started calling Leutch. And so, but the whole thing was redshirt him, and so I decided with Murray State, so I wouldn't. But we were supposed to be redshirting with Gary
Right.
Hooker from
Mhm.
Manhattan, from Chelsea High School, right? But I
Mhm.
I wanted to play, so I went to the JUCO, a school like 20 minutes from Murray.
Mhm.
But dealing with that initially, to answer your question, it was funneled through my mom. Whereas later on, it was kind of like just me finding a way to get back into the circuit because I had, I had grade, problems.
Okay.
And but
Okay.
that was something that I did on my own. That wasn't like I was stupid and couldn't pass math. It's far from
Right.
that. But
Okay.
it's funny because not as funny, but in comparison, like for Les is totally different because how do you end up being one of the top players in Brooklyn and nobody know about you? How does that
I,
happen?
but you know
Well,
what though?
that sounds like Steph Curry talking about he only had one college scholarship.
That's what
How did that
Les. That
happen?
but happened with Les. You
But you
know,
know, my situation was different. Like, okay, I only played 1 year at Tech, and I think Kelvin Hicks only played 1 year at Tech. He was a year behind me, so that's a we don't
Cal
understand how
only
that
played
happened.
1 year.
right?
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
a
So
weird
me and
story.
him running
Listen
around
to
the
this.
school.
It's weird.
We're not on the team, right?
Right.
So um, when I was up, when I made the team, the senior year, and then I was the man, and the coach that cut me, he was like, "Son, what are you, a sophomore?" I said, "Man," I said, "You cut me 3 years in a row." And he really tried to get me in a lot of schools. I give him credit for that. But my problem was that I put all my eggs in one basket, man. I got flown down to GW. Me and Mike Darby on the plane together. And I love that place, man. It was like, oh man, this looks good. You know, it was D1, the whole nine. So they talked to my father and said, oh yeah, we're gonna do something. So all the other offers I got, I was saying, nah, I'm going George Washington. So came about August. So we hadn't heard anything. So my father called the guy. He said, oh, Mr. Miller, I'm sorry, man. We're gonna take this guy 6'9" from the DC area. So I was so hurt. So now I'm calling some of the other coaches, man. It's like, yo, you still got a spot for me. So finally, this guy from CW Post said, yo, okay, I got something for you, but you may have to commute because there's no dorms left. I signed up for all my classes, right? I'm talking with Big Don McAllister, right? I said, yo, Don, he said, Les, where you going to school? I said, I'm gonna go to CW Post. He said, man, we bust their ass. I said, where do you go to school? He said, Hartwick. I said, where's Hartwick? He said, Oneonta. I said, where the fuck is Oneonta? He said, yo, man, my coach is looking for another big man. You want to come visit? So I went to visit. Beautiful campus. I was getting some more money. I said, yo, I'll do it. So next thing you know, I'm up at Hartwick, man. And Don was a starting center, and I ended up taking his spot. So I started as a freshman at center. We was getting about the same amount of time. But when we played CW Post that year, the coach came to me. He said, and I was on the cover of the magazine that day, the program. He said, oh, this is why you came here. I said, no. I said, you guys didn't really have a spot for me. And then the same guy, Ron Gannulin, was the assistant coach. The next year, he's at New York Tech. So I'm saying, where's the allegiance? He was going to leave me anyway. You know what I mean? So that experience, man, was, an eye-opener.
Great story. Mm-hmm. That brought back a memory.
Okay.
I don't want to speak ill of the dead, but Valvano. Valvano did that. He was the coach at Iona.
Iona, that's right.
That's right.
The coach at Iona, and he was recruiting me hard. Him, Dick Vitale, all these different cats. They were always in and out, coming to my house and stuff. And he had my mother. So even though my mother didn't know much about me playing basketball at all. She had not a clue. She'd walk down the street and people would say to her, yo, I read about your son in the baseball. I seen your son play. And she's looking at him like, she would come home and ask me, like, what are they talking about?
Yeah.
She didn't have a clue. But I sat down, he came to the house and we sat down and they give you that whole spiel about the school, the program and how much they need you and they like the game and blah, blah, blah. And just something about him, you read people. Mm-hmm. And I said to my mother, I said, I don't like him. I don't trust him.
You see what he did right?
That year, he recruited all those cats to that school and he turned around and cut out and went to North Carolina.
See what he did, right? And like you said, I don't want to say anything bad about the dead. Ed Gooding, Gary Springer, Steve Burke, Ed Gorman, Ed O'Gorman,
he tried to get them to go to Iona.
Yeah, right. Ed Gorman, Mike Ice, Jeff Rulin, Peter Vesey. I know every single one of them. And Mike Ayati, Alex Middleton, Lester George.
Names, but
Lester George.
They were trying to get all of us to go to school together.
Yeah, Lester George. And then, because we played against them, the next year he cut tail to North Carolina. And I'm not disrespecting that. That's fine. But I'm just saying, he was doing, and I'm going to get to a point. He was doing the exact same thing that Lou Carnesecca was doing. Now, let me ask you a question. Those players that were getting playing time that we're talking about with St. John's, players from Iona, where did they all come from? Eggman, Mr. Lloyd's, Riverside.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And that's how come they grab, and that's how can they try to grab you, because of that Riverside association. Eggman, because Eggman, may he rest in peace. He was really he was a great guy.
He became a scout or something for schools and
Yeah,
for the
Memphis
NBA also.
Grizzlies. Yeah, he because
Right.
at the here in Charlotte when they did they used to do the Jordan Classic here, and my organ we used to cover it as media, right? And I ran into him, and he was there with like 8 different scouts from different NBA teams. He introduced me all of them,
Mhm.
and he's like, that's what he was doing, but that was his
Right.
progression in the environment. But while he
Right.
was at Riverside, they St.
Yes.
John's and Iona, they were in the backyard. They're here, right? So they're looking
Right.
at players locally, and you
Yeah.
oversaturate the roster, and whatever comes out of it comes out of it. And
Yeah.
It will, but it was, but look what you're doing to your players, because it was disrespectful to me. Come on, you couldn't tell me, I couldn't play with them cats. Are you serious?
Exactly. For
And
real.
and when we had like the summer tournaments, the summer pro leagues and stuff like that, I was eating these cats for lunch.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. You know
And
who else?
To the point where I was playing in one of the pro leagues, the guys that ran the whole thing came to me after the game and said, "What the fuck is wrong with Louis?
Yeah,
Is
yeah.
he bugging?"
You know who
Because
else?
I was running through the pro league. Like,
Yeah, and
Yeah.
and I want to tell you
Nothing to
this,
me.
and no disrespect for this guy, but the twins, the Jackson twins.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say no more. I'm not gonna say no more.
Right. Uh-huh.
I know them. I know them well, man. I know them well, man. Come on,
Yeah,
man.
love them.
Yo,
Yeah.
Les, big guys, right? Really, really great
Mhm.
guys. Les, offensive skills were like this. You see that
Mhm.
circle? Like
Yeah.
0 right there. They just don't have offensive skills. I don't
Mhm.
understand that. I really don't.
Mhm.
I doesn't make sense to me. But then on the other side, you got Ray, and then you have another dude, Fred McRae. Two offensively, that these guys are two efficient, offensively skilled guys. That's all I
Mhm.
want to say about that. You make your own judgment. It didn't make sense. Another player, this is really weird. And not that many people have played against him, but I have, and this guy was really good. He gave me a real hard time. Ronnie Player was a good basketball player.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I know you're talking about.
But he played right. He played Ron. Ron was a tough kid. Hard nosed, good rebound and stuff like that. He wasn't that offensive minded or great, but under them boards, he definitely was a
Right.
banger,
And
and he
plus he
played
and plus he
he
was a
played
small
defense.
forward, but yeah, and he
Defense. He was
got playing
small. Yeah,
time.
because he was small.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but he was a good player, but his game never developed at St. John's. And
Right.
how do you become like a historically efficient freshman at Kansas and then come to St. John's and not play?
And not play.
I don't
Right.
understand that. I'm sorry.
Exactly.
There's not a coach on earth that gets respect for not capitalizing on that. I'm sorry. Before I talk about any successes of Walter Berry, Chris Mullen, before that, how do you have a guy
Right.
that breaks records as a freshman and
Right.
you get him and he does absolutely really he just shell
Right.
of his original self,
Mhm.
you know?
And
And I
people they
like I
don't
said,
realize that they
Mhm.
shoot. A coach can make you or break you.
Absolutely.
Because now, with your playing time, your confidence is here.
Mhm.
When they stop playing you like that, they have you doubting yourself. That's why you see, some people are like, well, he didn't do nothing at this school, but or this team, and now he's over here, and he's killing them.
Mhm.
That's because of what the coach has mentally broke this kid to
right,
believing that he can't, because he's
Right.
not giving them the time. And this
True.
coach
Yeah.
is giving him
yeah.
his
And
shine.
no matter what you do, you can't fight back into that environment, which is
Right.
part of the process. It's like if you're not getting playing time, son, then maybe you need to work harder. Now you start working harder and you figure you're gonna reap benefits from that effort,
A lot
right?
of times that's not it. No,
Right.
That's not it.
Mhm.
Right.
That's not it.
And that's the sad part. But when this starts happening at an abundant number of athletes, there's a problem. But you know what? It is the weird part. once that kind of cleared itself and Walter Berry and Chris Mullin came through there, that mindset kind of started subsiding. So they weren't, they kind of stopped doing that to the players. But that was happening for a good 3-year, 4-year period. Lou Carnesecca was destroying, basketball careers of people who, could have had better careers. But a lot of
Most
coaches did
definitely.
that. LIU did that to us. I always say the last game I ever played in at LIU, I played 3 minutes out of the clear blue against, Illinois and NIT. 3 minutes after starting like 3 years. Like, you kidding me? And it's no explanation, no, and it's just
No,
really
they say nothing, right?
nothing,
Like you're not there. You
Yeah.
know, you look at all of our, if you looked at, they kept stats on everything. All of our scrimmage games, all of our exhibition games, all of that. And all that stuff I played. I was in the top 3 in everything. How do you sit me down? How do I not play?
Yeah.
And I got Reggie Carter, Wayne McCoy, Bernard Rencher, Dave Russell, all these cats. 3. I'm in the top 3 as far as all of their accolades in scoring, rebounding, this and that. And then you don't play.
Yeah. And
Crazy.
it's like, and you
That's
can't.
some bullshit. That's some bullshit.
Yeah, and you can't, and but this is the thing, though. This is the thing that hurts less. You can't question the great Lou Carnesecca.
Right. And people always ask me, was he a good coach? And my question to all of that, he was a good figurehead.
Wow.
That's how I saw him. He was a good figurehead. Yeah, he did what he did with the refs. They respected him or whatever. During the game, he was oblivious to a lot of things that was even going on. The assistant coaches did what they had to do, but I just say he was a good figurehead. That's all.
Yeah, and that's it seems like that's a common theme that a lot of these guys turned out, because a lot of people don't know in that era of basketball, you had Jimmy Valvano, Lou Carnesecca, you had Tom Penders, right? You had PJ Carlesimo at Wagner.
Yes.
There were coaches in that immediate environment of New York City that end up having, going on to doing greater, better things. And out of all of them, actually the one that doesn't get a lot of recognition, that in comparison to, like you're saying about, playing time and how players were treated, Tom Penders probably was the most openest one of all. Because he wanted to get good players so that they could play, so that they could win. That was his, what I'm saying? I'm not going to get a guy.
I thought that's the objective of the game.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
He stayed true.
Yeah.
He stayed true to the process,
Right.
And because Valvano had a goal to move on to better things. PJ Carlesimo, the same thing. And there was also another guy, believe it or not, Mike Krzyzewski, because he coached at Army.
I remember that. When I first went to St. John's, he was at Army.
And is getting his ass spanked as if he was, being molested. That's how bad. Like, we played them every year. And it's like every year was kind of like, not that we didn't do this, but it's kind of like tossing a coin to see who's going to have a career day. Against them. I'm serious. They're 0-3. PJ Carlesimo against us, 0-2. Tom Penders, 0-3. Jimmy Valvano, 1-1. But I'm just saying, though, these guys, man, they, you can, and it's not their fault, because they're looking at their careers as well. I want to move up. I want to start.
I can thank them for. I can thank Lou for. Well, him and myself, that I got a degree out the deal.
Here we go.
And
but you control that, though. But you control that.
That's why I said, and I controlled that. I got a degree out the deal. which was good. And hey, I ended up with an NCAA semifinal. What's that? The Elite Eight finals ring. From the
Okay.
NCAAs. We went to the NCAAs 4 years and all my 4 years. We went to the
Mm,
NCAAs.
Yeah.
Always went past the first 2, 3 rounds.
mm,
So I can look at that and say, okay, well, I was there.
right,
I
right, right.
remember those days. We was there when Mike and them Rob was Rob Michael Jordan and won the whole thing.
Hmm.
That big shot that he took.
Right.
I was there for that. We saw that. So hey, I don't complain about it. It's nothing to cry about because I
Oh no,
always
not at
said,
all. I
like
mean,
I said in the beginning, I always took it as it comes. If it comes, cool. If it doesn't, cool. Ray James gonna be all right.
yeah,
Yep, there we
definitely.
go.
Because I had that kind of confidence in
That's what's
myself.
up. That's
You
what's up,
know,
baby. That's what's up.
Well, this is the
after
thing,
that.
Ray. You're not blind. You said. I mean, the X's and O's in that scorebook, they don't lie, man. I mean, once that game
Right.
is over, those stats
Hmm.
are they're solidified. So you
Hmm.
can't
Hmm.
question it. That's why I always say, and for most guys, I would say, like all of us that played together, you know, and I use Les as an example because sometimes, like, I've known this guy my whole life. So for me,
Right.
and sometimes I think about it and it gets very pissed off about it. I mean, no, there's other guys that I know that were just as competitive during our
Hmm.
our era, and it's like those guys got drafted. Les didn't get drafted. I don't understand that.
Hmm.
I mean, there's guys I don't know that got drafted in, I guess 82, 81, around that
Hmm.
time. And I'm like, I dog this guy. This is ridiculous, man. I don't
How many
understand.
games have you watched and said that? That's what I said that
Yeah,
before.
yeah,
There's guys that I used to eat up, but they're making money. They're doing this. They're doing that. And,
yeah,
and I'm looking at them like, yeah, he all right.
yeah.
you
Yeah,
And it's
right.
yeah, and it's but the funny, but it's like, but it draws in like other pieces of things like, and Les and I talk about this all the time. It's like, we could have ended up being, and I really have given this thought lesson. I don't know if you have. You better have. I hope you did. I had a possible opportunity to have been on the best high school team that America has ever seen in their life.
Wow.
Les Miller, Andre Gaddy, Riley Clarita, Felix Tertullian, Calvin Hicks, and me. All
I'm getting
six
30
of
on
us.
y'all.
All six
I'm
of
getting
us.
30 on y'all.
All six of us. I heard that, Rick. But listen to me, I'm serious. All six of us were supposed to go to Erasmus High School.
Yeah.
Wow.
We live
Wow.
like what, at the most,
yeah,
like 3 blocks away from each other, less, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah. That would have been an incredible team.
You
That would
know,
have been an
so
incredible team.
so
Yeah.
but then in that situation, even in that situation, somebody would have had to take a L
Oh, most definitely.
because there's
Yeah.
too many of us,
Right. 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 That's
and
true.
and so that's why, in retrospect, when I think about like our college careers and people getting drafted, that the same
Hmm.
applies. Some people were going to
Yeah.
fall. There's too many names on the list. There's only but
Yeah.
5 jobs, and there's 100 guys applying for it. What do you, what do
Right.
you
And it's not to
expect?
take away from your ability.
Right.
That's just the nature of the beast. That's just the way it is.
Yeah,
Numbers
exactly.
game. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's what makes it me, correlated back to, just not letting it be an issue. Some guys, it's like, well, shoot, I got 40 yesterday and it's 60 and over. Like,
Hmm.
I'm sorry, but to
Yeah.
be
Come on,
doing
brother.
that,
Hmm.
and worrying about getting a trophy now is, so funny to me. I don't
I tell
understand
you,
it, man.
all of that stuff, as many trophies that as I've received and all that, they're in a closet.
Mm.
Some
Those
guys
mine
like
are
to
right,
put
but
their stuff up.
mine are behind me right there. That's
Okay,
all
some
that's
people like to
left.
put them out.
That's all
They,
that's
they fall
left.
apart. They fall apart.
Yeah,
All kind of
yeah.
things.
And
Yeah.
most of those
But,
are my daughters, though. I think, yeah, most of those are my
Mhm.
daughters. There's a couple of plaques of mine, but Les will tell you, man, because I know Les has helped me move like 8 times, right? Les? So Les has seen he's seen the boxes of trophies, and
Yeah.
I've seen his,
Yeah, I
and
put
it's
the
like,
day in
but
closets, they in my attic, stuff like
yeah,
that.
but there's guys that still, touting
Yeah.
like, oh, I got this trophy. Yeah, I'm like, you know,
Yeah.
anybody we can buy trophies, to blue in the face, man, and put stuff on there and say, hey, look,
Yeah.
I won this. What? Who cares?
It
But
was important at one time of my
yeah,
life, but
yeah,
now, nah, not at all. Only thing
Absolutely.
that I wear, or I have around is my NCAA ring. That's about it. There
Yeah.
ain't many,
Yeah.
and that's one of those. That's one of those things where, you know, not everybody, and I mean throughout all the cast, you guys included, this and that. How many of y'all have one?
I've got a
Yeah, man.
watch, but I don't have a ring.
Right,
All I
and
got, all
that's
I got
that.
is those
That
NCAA. All I got is NCAA plaques and stuff.
Yeah,
yeah,
and I
yeah,
could,
yeah,
and
yeah,
if I had
right.
the ring, I couldn't wear it because ain't no fingers no more. So
Yeah, but that's about the only thing that I kept
but it's
in
value.
cherish,
There's
because that
value in
it
it.
was it
And
was value.
yeah, and
Right.
the
Yeah.
value is, but what's the value? The value is that the experience is the value, and
Right.
Hmm.
It holds
that's
a lot of
yours, man.
memory.
That
It holds a
belongs
lot
to
of
Yeah.
memory.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, that belongs to
Absolutely.
you, man.
Yeah.
And that's going full circle, man. That's what all of this is. That's what these
Right.
podcasts are about. We're talking about
Hmm.
Right.
memories of things that occurred during a great time in our lives that served a
Yeah.
purpose for who we are today, and we're just reconnecting and discussing it.
It'd
And
be
and
nice if younger kids are listening to this, and they
yeah,
could probably grasp, if they are willing to open up, to know how it turns out.
right. And
Like
how it
Yeah.
I
can
made the
turn out,
Right.
statement,
right.
right? How
Yeah,
it can turn out. It can turn out good for you, or it can turn out bad for you. Like I said, I go to Gowanus now, and
Gotcha.
the place looks like the place looks strange to me. I know, like I say sometimes, well, I've lived out in the world longer than I did in Gowanus. But when I
Hmm.
go there, the only place that looks pretty much the same, other than now they have like fiberglass backboards, is that basketball court. And I can stand there and I look at that, and I say, this was my whole life right here at one time. And I say,
Mm.
this used to be my playground.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
done that
I
too.
feel
This
you.
used to be my
I
spot.
know you've done that, Les. I know
Yeah.
you have done that,
From
man.
my
Everybody,
Wingate.
everybody has
Yeah,
had to have done it. Everybody has had to
Yeah.
have done that.
yeah,
You know.
and it's weird. The last time I was in New York, man, I went to the park by my house, Albany Park, man, and I got
Mhm.
choked up. I made guys get off the
Right,
court, man. I'm dead serious. I said, "Can y'all
right,
get off the court for a moment?" I went to half court and I kissed the ground at half court, man. And I'm like, "This was
right,
my spot." I had to make a layup, man. I had to make one
right,
layup. And then I
right,
Hmm.
walked out. I said, "Thanks for your time. I'm out of there," because they're your
right,
memories, man. They mean something,
right.
and they were in a special place and time, but the
Hmm.
same applies for that girl that's was on a ballet troupe as a child, and
Hmm.
now she's got 3 kids and living in Montana or something.
Right,
Those
Yeah.
right.
experiences mean something, and if you it's up to you whether or not you want to let your experiences die or not, and
Hmm.
they
Right.
have a place in our heart, so we're talking about it. And
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
I cherish them, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted to do these things, is to
This is
connect
this
with
is a, this is
people.
a good deal here, man.
Yeah,
I'm
you
really
know
uh
and want to know something? I'm kind of
grateful.
surprised. I'm surprised. 'Cause- and I told you last night, Ray, right? And I said, man, I know something Les is going to tell you tomorrow. I know what it is. He ain't say it though. But let's go. Let's just, he brings this up, to guys because of out of respect. And once again, like how we respect
Mhm.
our peers. He
Right.
always says to guys, I never got a chance to play with you, you know. And
Yeah. I think. I mean, have we ever played against each other? Oh, maybe once.
We played against each other maybe a handful of times.
yeah, but I
You
mean with
know,
Okay.
each other. But I mean
we
with
never
each other.
played.
Never played
Never played
together.
with each other. We
Yo,
never had
like
that
yo,
pleasure.
I'm telling you, Ray. No, I am not kidding you. He's like a consummate team player, so he puts the effort in. and so he makes life great behind you. Because I know we play away from the basket a lot. How many big men have you played with that you really trust behind you, legitimately trust during your high school
Right.
years? I'm saying this is a person that you can trust behind back there. And there weren't many, maybe Sid Green, blah,
Right.
blah, blah. But other than that, this guy right here, man. So, and that Les always says that to a lot of people, man, especially the guards, man. He's like, man, I wish I had to play with you because, but he respects them. So he brings that up to them, saying, I wish I played with you because your game was nice. Now, if your game wasn't nice, Les ain't saying that.
but on the real though, I mean, I always admired you because I'm looking at them saying, yeah, that's how we supposed to play. Nice and smooth. People feared you. And you would jump into the moon. So I'm like, that's what I'm talking about. That's a guy that you can have on your team, the guy you're gonna respect no matter what. Yeah.
And those days, man, that when you saw the people that had game like that, you want to gravitate to them, and especially if you played against them. So now there's some legitimacy here. Damn, man, wish I was playing with that guy, and that's a fault with, to some degree with some of the guys you might be playing with, like, damn, Ray done bust that guy ass. That guy on my team, but that's how we all flowed, and having those cross competitive games or even playing with each other, man. It's that we right away jumped on the respect bandwagon. Because a lot of us have a lot of respect for each other, which is
I think most definitely. Definitely.
And it shows, man. It shows,
Of course it does.
And especially in this forum, this is what comes out, and that's why, like I said, man, I enjoy doing these, and getting people to open up and express their heartfelt opinions about their careers and that era of when they played, man. And so and with that being said, Ray, man, it's probably about time, and this is this is the longest show we've ever done, man.
I know, I was getting ready to say, man, because this was good. This was good, man.
The sun's coming down, man. We still talking, the sun's going down. But Ray, I just want to say, man, like, really, I have a lot of respect for you. I mean, we're peers, and like you said, we go way back, man, and as competitors and teammates. And I've always considered you a friend and a brother, man, and that's never changed.
Most definitely.
But I really appreciate you being on the show. We're really glad to have you.
Man. Anytime you want to talk, let me know.
Man.
I'm here for it.
Yeah, I hear you, man. Any parting words?
I enjoyed this. Just that I want to see a lot of you brothers. I'm big on this, taking care of yourself. Taking care of yourself. You guys, I do little exercises. I walk 3-4 miles, 3 to 4 days out the week. Just a little something in. I go to the doctor just to make sure things are right, just so that we can be here.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the guys are not here. And you hear some things sometimes, like, if I only did this, or if I only went to the doctor for this, or I ain't gonna let no doctor do this to me. Man, put that nonsense down. The basketball, that's something that we did.
Yeah.
That's something we did. And they can't take that away from you. That's gonna live on forever. Somebody somewhere someday will mention your name. That comes without saying. But guys, stay healthy, man. Go to them doctors, keep yourself checked out, man. And that's all I can say. And enjoy yourself, man. Relax.
Yeah, I appreciate that. That's funny thing. 10:30 tomorrow, man. I got a doctor's appointment.
There you go.
6 months, man. I don't fool around with it, and
I didn't see more doctors in the last 3 months, man, than I enjoyed. But I make sure I'm okay.
It happens. I used to go so much. The doctor asked me, "Why am I here?"
And that's right. Yeah.
But and I do what you have to do.
Yeah, because I'm
You
I'm
know,
so close to my doctor, man, that I say anything I want to her, man. I'm serious. Like that's how
okay,
close we got because I spill the beans on myself. And I have
right,
to, so she can tell me if I'm
right,
doing, what I have to do to
the
stay,
right thing,
stay on this earth, man.
right.
And
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah,
there's a lot to be said about that, and those are welcomed words, Ray, because
yeah.
a lot of
Yeah,
people don't do that.
I really appreciate the opportunity to come on here with you guys and just talk about some of the back in the day history of my stuff. You know, a lot of
Yeah,
cats don't really know me like that. You know, they just know of me. You know, and
right.
you draw your opinion, but like I said, I don't need that to define me. But now you've heard it from me and not speculation and things of
Yeah,
that nature. But
Yeah,
I
yeah.
really appreciate you guys having me, man.
yeah, that's
Cool.
cool, man. Any parting shots at your boy Phil Seymour?
Philly
Because I
East,
know he's gonna
Philly,
see this.
Philly, Philly East. Yeah, that's you know what? I take no shots at my man because me and Phil once we started because it used to be like a duel. Like he was on one side of the projects, I was on the other side. For a long time, he didn't come on my side. And then once he started coming over and we started playing, and we got tight, we got cool, and we after a while it was like that was an everyday thing for us. We started playing together and moving around and traveling and playing in tournaments and stuff like that. And that's my dude, man.
Yeah,
That's all
yeah,
I got to say.
yeah,
Still
I hear
my
you,
dude,
man. Yeah, I know he's
you
gonna be
know.
seeing this, man. So I figured you have something funny to
Yeah,
say to him or something.
yeah, no, I ain't gonna beat the East man up. Nah, Phil's my man. I'm not beating him up.
There
We
you go.
know.
There you go. There you go. All right, and what about you, Les, man? Any parting shots, my brother?
Yeah, getting back to about the doctor stuff, man. It's my wife is the one. She's a nurse. She always tells me you can't rely on your doctors. You have to advocate for yourself. If you're not
Yes,
feeling well, you go to them. If you're not
right.
sure what they're saying, you keep asking questions. You got to make the calls. Don't assume that they're going to get back to you if something's wrong.
Hmm.
Advocate. If you took a test, advocate. Call them. Say, hey, how are those results? And they say, oh, I'm sorry.
Right,
You need to come see me again. No, that's so you have to make sure that you're on top of stuff.
right.
And then the last thing is that I'm gonna send you some more sticks, man. Remember that time I sent you some sticks?
Yeah, and
Okay,
I enjoyed those too, man. I
okay.
really enjoyed those, man.
I'm gonna
You know,
send you
this
some,
this is
man.
this is my I can honestly say probably my one and only vice. You know, I sit
Mm,
out. I have a cigar room out there, and I sit out there in the evenings and I watch basketball games, man. You know, and I enjoy myself. I'm retired. You know, and like I said, I don't want for nothing.
Yeah, there you
You
okay.
go.
know, I,
Yeah,
I, I, I,
my
I, I'm
I
I'm just
can't
loving
send.
it.
Yeah, I can't send my sticks in the mail, man. I get arrested.
You get arrested.
My kind of sticks, my kind of sticks don't. They're not allowed, man, through the
Hmm.
mail system.
Through the mail system.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. But listen, man, Ray, really, be blessed, my brother, man. I appreciate you on having you on the show, and I wish you more, much success in your retirement, and we'll
Thank you,
definitely
bro.
talk to you soon.
All
Everybody,
right.
till
My
next
brother.
time,
Peace.
talk to you
Peace and
guys.
Peace.
love.
All right.
Okay, now.